Welcome back to Iron Wolves Productions, everyone, and to another Third Age Reforged cinematic style battle replay. For those of you who follow my activities, I doubt there's very many of you, if any, out there that do, but you may have seen that I was on Scouts of Entertainment's podcast at time of recording. That would have been yesterday. So, and we played this battle then. So if you saw that, you might be maybe let down if you're kind of one of those people that want to be left in suspense as to the final outcome of the battle. But this one was the stream I was in was kind of a long one, so a lot of people, I'm sure, only watch parts of it. In any case, this is kind of an unconventional replay here. It's a 2v3 on the Grey Havens. And I, as always, will be playing as Gondor. It's my favorite Reforged faction, and one of my favorite factions in the Ultimate Compilation run as well. I've made my thoughts on Gondor pretty clear at this point, several times on the channel. But then I am joined in the defense of the Grey Havens by, come on, let's cooperate here, Scouts of Entertainment, who is playing quite thematically as Lyndon. So this actually, I'll make out to be more of a themed battle. It wasn't planned to be, but that's what we're going to go with. So, in this particular case, shortly before the Battle of the Five Armies, shortly after the Battle of the Five Armies, the Grey Havens come under attack by a combined force from Mordor, over here, the Orcs of the Misty Mountains, and Isengard. Sauron would have feared the return of any elves coming back from out of the west, so the destruction of the Grey Havens would be just the thing to ensure that that sort of thing can't happen. So Círdan, in his distress, sends a call for help to Gondor, and Gondor answers. So enough of the asking, where was Gondor? Gondor's here now, and we're gonna do some work. So yeah, we're squaring off against Mordor, played by the Prime 99. Orcs of the Misty Mountains. Oh, there it is. Played by the Dog Eater. Kind of a trash name. And Bob the Rod playing as Isengard. So, I guess now that we can see their armies, let's go through their army compositions just real fast. I'll blitz through it. He has like 2 or 3 units of Dunlending Clansmen, 2 or 3 units of Uruk-hai Raiders. Looks like, yeah, just 2. He's got a unit of Berserkers. You can only take one of those in Reforged. Uruk-hai Archers, there's 2. Uruk-hai Infantry, 3 of them. 2 Uruk-hai Pikemen, 2 Crossbowmen, Nazgûl, and some Trolls of the White Hands. There they are. Okay. Over here, we've got Orcs of the Misty Mountains. They've got, what was it? Goblin King's Bodyguard, 2 Black Orcs, is it 2? Yeah. 2 Black Orcs of the Mountains, 2 Heavy Goblin Infantry, probably, if I remember correctly, 3 or 4 units of just normal Goblin Infantry, unit of White Orc Fearmongers, Drake Broodlings, Bullock's Champions, and if I remember correctly, He's got his army real spread out. It's kind of irritating to keep track of here. Actually, he's got 4 units of heavy goblin infantry. Yeah, that's right. He's got a couple units of heavy goblin spearmen. By a couple, I mean like 3 or 4, actually. And then he's got snow trolls, which can hide somewhere. So yeah, you get the idea. Lots of gobos, cheap ones at that. A lot of goblin infantry. You don't see too many of those taken in Misty Mountain armies. But that being said, I rarely play the game anymore. I mostly mod it. And then we've got an unconventional, I will say, Mordor army here. So he's got the Primes brought Melkor's Chosen, 3 units of Orc Fodder, 3 hold on, those are archers. So he's brought 2 units of Mirandran Infantry, 2 units of Morgul's Chosen, Temple Executioners, and 2 Nazgul. I don't know where they are right now, but I know that he brings 2 Nazgul, which is something I just wanted to mention real quickly. For those of you who play this game regularly, taking 2 Nazgul is not a good idea, in my personal opinion. The increase in the price after the red limit's just way too steep to afford it. With that kind of money, he could have brought Temple Guard, which he didn't bring. He could have brought a lot of Mirandran Halberds. He could have brought Sauron's Will. He could have brought Olog High. He could have brought a Troll Catapult, because the attackers have not brought any kind of artillery, as you can see. What else? Orc Maulers. I'd like to bring those. So you get the picture. Taking 2 Nazgul is not really worth it, in my opinion. But that's what he's done. And another thing to keep in mind when you're playing on the Grey Havens is that siege equipment doesn't work particularly well here. So if you want to scale the walls, do not use ladders. Do not use ladders, okay? Your men will fall off to their death because the ladders themselves end up being so much higher than the walls themselves that they just, stupidly step right off and fall down to their death. So don't bring ladders. Take siege towers instead. And even siege towers, sometimes that glitch happens. So, but siege towers seem to be a lot safer, a lot more safe option. And really, you want to be bringing multiple battering rams. Anyhow, we'll go on to the defenders real fast. So I have brought, I'm not even going to show them, I can pretty well remember. I have brought in 1 Nimlothian Honor Guard, 1 Veteran of Osgiliath, 2 Athelian Rangers, 2 Fountain Guard, 2 Citadel Guard, 4 units of Gondor Spearmen, 2 Gondor Archers, 2 Marksmen of Kaer Andros, and I think... Oh, and a Trebuchet, and I think that's it. Pretty sure that's all. Okay, so Scouts has brought, for Lyndon, Horse Lords of Olmo, very powerful unit. Unfortunately, I replaced them in the Ultimate Compilation mod with a unit called the Arben E. Galadriel, which is an attempt at a Sindarin name that's intended to translate to Knights of the Radiant Hammer, but I'm not sure if that actually ended up working out. So, anyway, the name sounds cool. It's going to stay that way, so any Sindarin purists out there, deal with it. Harlanden Riders, Missile and Javelin Cavalry, or I'm sorry, they're not javelins. They are Horse Archers, that's right, yeah. Horse Archers, and they've got a spear when they're done. So they kind of turn into makeshift Lancers once they're done, so really good hybrid cav. So he's going to sally out. He's got Nolbert Blade Masters, some Mithlon Sword Masters. I think he's got 2 of them, if I remember correctly. More Harlan Guard. I think he's got 2 of those. What else does he have? Yeah, that's his other Harlan Guard. What else? 4 London Archers. I believe he's got 2 of those. Moldering Guard. Can only take 1 of those. 4 London Pikemen. He may have... I know Lyndon has another unit of pikes. I don't remember their name, though. I think he may have the other type as well. Mithlon Pikes, maybe? I don't remember. Yeah, 4 London Pikemen. Mithlon Marines. Really good unit of Javelin Throwers. Wardens of Illustirian. I told him to take 2 of these. I don't know if he ended up doing that. We need the firepower. That's for sure. Those are just my marksmen. I'm not sure anything else is though. Oh, he's got something on the wall there. And some more Mythol Marines. Okay, so that's pretty much everything he's got. We'll go ahead and get started then. And we will just park right here, fast forward until the deployment's done. And first siege battle, this one's actually relatively quick. Oh, slow down here. So right off the bat, we've got scouts. Or should we say, we have Lyndon sallying forth to try to disrupt the enemy here. Mordor, pretty wisely, kind of boxed up, anticipating that there could be a sally-out attempt. So Lyndon, I think, would be wise to skirt the forces of Mordor and try their luck with the orcs that have come from the Misty Mountains. Horse Lords of Olmo leading the way, of course. But I would suggest that, actually, they should probably stop and let the Harlingen Riders kind of scout things out. Which I think is what he's probably going to do. We'll keep an eye on the radar up here. Looks like Isengard's starting to move his siege equipment up. The cavalry of Lyndon have sallied out from the south gate, and we're moving towards the east gate now. They'll be confronted by Bullock's champions, so we'll need to be careful of that. Don't want to let them get an easy charge in the horse. The
enemy are battering down the gates!
That'll be Isengard in the north. We'll check that out in a second.
The enemy siege tower has reached our walls. And run!
And Harlingen Riders not scoring any kills yet, but that will hopefully have hurt them. Horse Lords of Olmo are kind of strangely spread out. You'll want to be careful of that.
Our cunning foe. The enemy's ram has breached the gates!
Yep, Dunlending clansmen have broken through the gates for Isengard. Well, that's interesting, actually. Having spread the unit out like that, I don't know if the scouts intended to do that, but I thought that was going to be bad, but actually, he wasn't actually able to get a charge off of him because he just slightly separated the unit apart and just charged where they had been. So, I've never seen that happen before, actually. Bullock's champions are getting ripped apart by the Horse Lords of Olmo, as they should. But snow trolls will hurt them pretty substantially. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. If they had been able to get a really solid charge off into the snow trolls, they probably could have lanced a couple to death. Do we only have one Bullock's champion left? Oh, phenomenal. Oh, Melkor's chosen from Mordor's force are now giving chase. So the cavalry of Linden have their hands full. It probably won't be too long for this world. But there's still 18 horse lords of Volo. Let's see, can they get another charge off? Ooh. That was a halfway decent charge. Could have been better, but could have been worse too. Oof. Yeah, that hurt. Yeah, I'd try to get them out of there. Try to run down something else. The Harlingen Riot's going for, I wonder. I'm about to switch back to the northern gate. I didn't see this part of the battle, so... Okay. In the north, Isengard has already mounted the walls, and the veterans of Osgiliath will easily hold back Uruk-hai raiders. It's a pretty one-sided fight, to be honest. Same here with the Dunlending clansmen. He really needs to... I see what he's trying to do with the Snaga skirmishers back there. I don't know if he's got a good enough shot to pull it off, though. And you really... I guess you would want to... I guess it wouldn't be so bad if you wanted to use your javelins into the Nolvar Guard, because they are reasonably well armored up. I'm going to go ahead real fast and pause this. I'm going to turn the sound down. I feel like I have to yell over the game. Right.
Our enemy's ladders have reached our walls.
But if he's throwing into the four Linden pikemen, it may be out of necessity, and fair enough, but I would suggest that's maybe... I would suggest maybe that's a waste of ammo, given how poorly armored the four Linden pikemen are. And yeah, pretty easily the veterans of Osgiliath handed those Uruk-hai raiders their asses to them. And they'll... even more of a one-sided fight than with Uruk-hai raiders is veterans of Osgiliath versus Dunlending clansmen. This will be handled with ease, I would suggest. So on this side of things, we have Mordor, and this is exactly what I was talking about with towers. Yeah. Ugh. Surprised so many have actually survived that. Wow. That's really painful. So it looks like Mordor's kind of split his army in two. He's going to send this up to the gate. And really, what I should have done... Scouts and I were keeping the force here. Oh, yeah, Mithlon Pikemen, there we go. I knew he brought some of those. Scouts and I were going to keep a force here, so that we can easily just run back across the bridge when the time comes. But really, I probably should have had more over here helping him out, to be honest. I was just... I knew that we would have to fall back eventually, and so I didn't want to have my army spread out too far, over too great an area, so that it was easier. It'd be easier to have an organized retreat back to the town center.
Curses! The enemy are battering down our gates.
Nolvar Guard here would hold fantastically against Orc fodder. You will never see a more one-sided fight. Orc javelins will be really efficient against them, though, I will say. Particularly if they can get a shot in their back. So I don't know what he's doing with these Orc jabs.
Battering down our gates.
Yeah, I think he chickened out. He should have thrown into the backs of these Nolvar Guard.
The enemy's ram has breached the gates.
Horse Lords of Volvo that have survived their routing, of course, but survived the sally, or the sortie, I should say, have fallen back. And these marksmen of Andros are trying to fire into, what was it? Blackback Mountain Berserkers. That was what they were
Blast their
firing
eyes!
at.
The enemy's ram is through our gates.
Yep, and so that's the gate that we're looking at. Or, sorry. No, it's, well...
Our cunning foe has reached our walls with their siege tower. We must repel them.
Here. Yeah, so Scouts is kind of on his own here. But if the Misty Mountains are gonna... they're gonna have to rush both gates at once, I would suggest, if they want to have a chance to win. Marksmen of Andros hold here pretty nicely against heavy goblin infantry. It'll take them a while to kill, just because I think they do have a pretty good shield value, but it is just a matter of time. So, of course, the Marksmen of Andros, in addition to being fantastic archers in God War's roster, they also wield a two-handed sword when they do need to mix things up in melee. Blackback Mountain Berserkers, though, will totally change that equation. They will flip that on its head completely. And they will decimate these marksmen of Andros, but they're going to have to push their way to the front of the line to get to them, so I think yeah, looking back on the battle, maybe leaving the marksman here to buy me some time was a bad idea. Ooh, this glitch is probably going to kill more of these berserkers than the marksman will. Ouch. So yeah, maybe it was a mistake leaving them here to die, but I needed something to... we were going to need something to buy us some time. Let's see. Work fodder. What work fodder pursuing? With one Marines? Oh, dude, Scouts, just turn around and butcher them. Looks like they got their ammo off, so that's always good. And I think, yeah, he is turning around to deal with them. The North Gate. We have Isengard more or less broken through. But they've paid a heavy price. Athelian Rangers opening up to the side of these Urukai Berserkers. They have basically no armor, and being body-piercing, that will start to tear them to pieces. Will not be pretty for these Urukai Berserkers. The forces of Linden that remain here will probably take a good number of Urukai down, although I guess the Berserkers do change that equation a bit. And we still have heroic veterans of Osgiliath here, holding back the Urukai infantry. They'll actually kill quite a few more. So... yeah, the nice thing about veterans of Osgiliath is they're a hybrid unit. They're not a bodyguard tier unit, because they're only one hit point. But they do have locked morale, so they will stand and fight to the end. Let's take a look at this side over here. This is where things really fell apart for us. Yeah, at this point we've decided to cut our losses and hightail it out of here. Oh, God, I missed the advance of the Minas Morgul's Chosen up the hill. You can see what happened when my Rangers got a hold of them. Started to rip them to pieces. Actually, quite a few killed, which surprised me how many fell, given that they've got a really powerful set of armor and shield value. And and they were, you know, taking all the ranger fire head on with their shields high, so I was really surprised at how many died. Now, of course, Chosen are going to try to harass the Harlenden Guard. If the Harlenden Guard were to stop and turn around, they might be able to kill quite a few of them. I'm not sure, though. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's just my intuition anyway, given that they've got spears. And Lyndon is bravely sacrificing themselves so that the Athelian Rangers of Gondor can return to the Citadel, which is over here. Citadel Guard, speaking of Citadel Guard are advancing forward to kind of screen for the Athelian Rangers and the Harlenden Guard here. And we're also keeping an eye on these Orc fodder. They're not really that much of a threat, even if they were to try to charge in. But keep an eye on them nonetheless. Veterans of Osgiliath still think victory is certain. Against 22 Uruk-hai infantry, 9 of them might be able to kill that many, but yeah, it's really only a matter of time here. Got one over here still fighting as well. Trolls of the White Hand are inside. So what happened? The thing that broke the back of our defense was the arrival of the Drake Broodlings. I'm not sure where they've gotten to, but they kind of just forced their way through and wreaked havoc. Uruk-hai Berserkers coming in here. They will probably break these four-looking pikemen, to be honest. And these Mithlon Swordmasters. Yep. And they're broken. It's unfortunate. Noldrin Guard they're breaking too. That sucks. And I really think that the Noldrin units that Lyndon had need to be locked down, both of them.
In the course of battle, for defeat seems almost certain.
You know, they're your only units that are actually armored up, so they should have the ability to stand and fight to the last. So at this point, we've pretty well fallen back. Although, actually, I do have some marksmen of Kaer Andros that I... So that unit that was there was destroyed. This unit, I started to get off the walls and decided that they needed to be a rear guard. To make sure that we could have an orderly retreat. Being up against Blackback Berserkers will see them killed off, but if they were left... if those Berserkers weren't there, they would probably mop this up, actually. They're a really good unit across the board, actually. Both as archers and as dedicated melee shot troops, so highly recommend Gondor players take Marksmen of Kaer Andros. They're kind of a must-take. And one of them gets the leg sweep and bisect. Beautiful. They will go down eventually, though. But they will blend their way through Goblin infantry, though. So, White Uruk Fearmongers will hasten their demise if they were to decide to do so, and it looks like they have. That'll probably be just a bit too much for these poor marksmen here. And there they go. That was just a little bit too much for them. They did manage to kill 2 or 3 of these berserkers, though, which surprised me. But they did. Black Uruk's in the mountains. This is still a sizable unit, but man, they've been roughed up. They're maybe half their unit strength now. Probably less than that, actually. And anyway, I wanted to point this out here. So there's an unsung hero of this battle, a man of Gondor, one veteran of Osgiliath who survived the fight on the wall and was ignored by the attackers to their detriment, I like to think, anyway. He's just dispatched 2 or 3 Urukai archers, so that's that much firepower removed from Isengard's arsenal. And he's going to stalk the Isengard invaders. And he's going to come up on this hillside and try to assassinate a couple more berserkers. They're particularly prone to arrows, so we'll actually speed things up a little bit, actually, as the attackers get into position. And I may make a cut here, just to... we'll see. I may make a cut somewhere, I'll put it that way. I may not as well. But, just to the point where we see my lone veteran of Osgiliath taking pot shots at the enemy. Here he comes. Just gonna come up here. I'm gonna mortal spear. Poor man's been pretty roughed up. He's a war hero at this point. He will have killed his fair share of Urukai and Dunlendings. There we go. Now that is some bizarre projectile trajectory, but that is what it is. He's that skilled of an archer. And he is firing into... where are they at? That's Nazkai, not them. Firing into Urukai Berserkers. He's not landing any hits right now, though. Because they're moving, so... let's see. There's an arrow. Now, bear in mind that Urukai Berserkers have 3 hit points to make up for their lack of armor. So it's a lot of help to get through. But as you can see, a lot of them are pretty bloodied up. So a lot of these will probably have just 1 or 2 left. So just one lucky shot may drop one. There's our man of Gondor. There he is. He's biding his time. Still biding his time. But now his prey is in perfect position. So we're just going to watch here for a minute. Urukai crossbowman moving up. There we go. There we go. He gets his one, gets a glory kill there. Single Urukai Berserker slain by our lone hero of Gondor. He'll continue to stalk his prey. I don't think he gets any more kills, though, unfortunately. Or not on the Urukai Berserkers. He will. He still has plenty more Isengard scalps to collect. Teach Sauron the traitor. 1-4. For his valor, he'll be named, should he survive, he'll be dubbed a Knight of Nimloth. Should he fall in battle, he'll be buried in the halls of the kings. Beautiful. Anyway, let's get back to the serious stuff now. So, this is our defense we've set up. I decided that if the enemy had some more ammo left, then I needed to be the one taking the brunt of it. So I put my Gondor spearmen out front, Fountain Guard behind, Gondor archers over on the sides here. They can just shoot straight across. We've got some Fort Linden pikemen that are a little confused. They're not sure where to go. The citadel's over here, boys. Just cross the bridge. Cross the bridge. Get inside the town center, and you'll be active again. Whatever. A similar story over here, but I don't have Elven assistance on this side. So I think this is our weak point here. I say I don't have Elven assistance. I don't have it directly at hand. Linden's going to be focusing on Isengard primarily. And given that most of our remaining strength, which we're actually down by 1%, which is not what you want to see as a defender. Yeah, I wish I would have been able to get more of my ammo off of all my archers at this point, but needs must. And a lot of Gondor's archers are kind of hybrid units that make for really good infantry. That's what I needed them for the most. So, more Gondor archers over here. We still have 1.5 units left. So this is pretty much full strength, if not exactly full strength. We've got another one somewhere. I don't know where they went. In the town center, maybe. Yeah. This one's seen some action. But they'll still have quite a bit of ammo left, maybe half their supply. Oh God. Here we go, finally the attack. Okay. Archers of Linden opening up into these orc fodder, probably just to pump a single volley or two into them. Yeah, 2 volleys looks like. Just to show them what for and to let them know that, hey, you're not just going to be able to stand there right in front of our faces and get away with it. Goblin infantry coming in. They will be no match for Gondor spearmen. Even in their full numbers, and still win. Heavy Goblin spears, though, definitely win. Their spears are armor-piercing. And they've got really good shields and much better armor. So they're a threat. So that's why I'm going to open up to them. So the thing about Grey Havens, it might be frustrating to new viewers of it, the Battle Replays here, is that the side of this bridge isn't actually a solid entity. Not even sure how you go about fixing that. So you can shoot straight through it. And so I, in my cheesy-ass ways, will shoot them in their right side if they don't get their shield back. We have Mythlon Swordmasters coming up. They'll do quite nicely against basically everything here. Throwing up a lot of trash. He needs some more quality here. His Heavy Goblin Spears alone won't do the trick. Random Infantry will kind of replace a lot of the Heavy Goblin Infantry. Orc fodder that will have died there. What he does have, though, in his toolbox are these nozzles. That's going to be a pain to deal with. One of 2 units from here. He has 2 of those. Black Orcs of the Mountains coming forward. They're pretty depleted. And I don't think they'll hold up particularly well under arrow fire. They may have a shield value, though. I'm not sure. They do have one on the back. Sometimes that suggests they actually get a mechanically they get an in-game shield. It's not a bonus. Trebuchets opening up. Gondor. Where did he go? Ah, missed. Hit the bridge. We don't want to knock down the bridge. Come on, boys. It's like it's just a bridge. I was gonna say it could be like a Roman aqueduct or something. Really cool. Gondor archers and wardens of Elostirian, the most overpowered rangers in the game, frankly. Yeah, it's either them. I say it's the wardens of Elostirian. Some people may say it's the Adunheim Shadowbows, I believe is what they're called. Just because they're so well armored up for a ranger unit, but Wardens of Elostirian have the highest damage output and the highest missile attack value of any ranger unit. And it's still body piercing. So, yeah, it's gross. That's why I told Scouts he needs to take 2 of them. He is hitting them in their left side and in their front, so they're not going to have to worry about. I mean, they're going to get a shield value, but things like Urkai Berserkers are going to suffer from it. Got a hit, I think, with the Trebuchet. Controls the White Hand coming in to the battle now. We'll have to deal with him somehow. That was some friendly fire on the Trebuchet. We need to be careful. We need to be focusing down these pikemen. Which looks like the Wardens of Elostirian are doing. And doing well. We're now out ahead by 12%. That's the power of body piercing projectiles. Solid hit with the Trebuchet.
Only half the enemy force remains.
That was some like 20, I think. Yeah, the Wardens may have been helping with that too. Fountain Guard moving in will deal. Well, they'll deal with the Trolls of the White Hand. Trolls of the White Hand are. That's hard to say if they're better than Olokai or not. But they're one of the. They're in the top 2 of the best trolls in the game. Some of these Mythlon Swordmasters have gotten in behind the Black Orcs of the Mountains, who have been decimated. Dear God.
Only half the enemy force remains.
That's the Athelian Rangers. They're going to make use of their ammo. Take that to the ground. Citadel Guard will do quite nicely, actually, against Heavy Goblin Infantry and Morannon Infantry alike. But Sauron cares not for how many orcs he has to lose to the meat grinder, so long as the meat grinder is destroyed. Orc lives are cheap.
Nazkai coming into the fight now. Urukai aren't quite as disposable as a lot of other, as like normal orcs are, so you have to use Isengard. You have to play with them almost like you would, excuse me, like a Western Kingdom command, I would say. You got to take care of your berserkers too. Last troll of the White Hand went down. The pikemen, if they were in more real numbers here, they would actually be winning this fight. Well, yeah, I mean, they could be winning this fight, given there's only 24 Mithlon pikemen left. And their pikes have a longer reach than the Fountain Guard's halberds do. Pleasantly surprised at how well these Gondor spearmen are doing, actually. Yeah, and you can see that the Urukai Berserkers have really dropped off. They're down in the single digits now. And so I'm happy that I was able to do such damage to them early on with the Athelian Rangers that I was. Trebuchet's out of ammo, so it's now flinging carcasses to damage the morale of the attackers. That paired with an unrelenting volley. Yeah, just volley after volley from the Athelian Rangers will, well, Mordor will take the hint eventually. It may take them a hot minute, but they'll take the hint to just break ranks and run. Because if they stay here, they will die. Now, this does negatively impact your morale as well, but I was willing to deal with that, because Gondor and Linden's base morale is already really high. We do have a bit of a gap here. That is troubling. That heavy goblin spears would easily exploit. But look at that, they're already shaken just because of the miasma that's there. So we need to break through these Nazgul. There's only 6 of them left now. This is one of the units of Nazgul. Noldor and Blade Masters will do quite nicely for that. Citadel Guard and their AP Spears will do nicely for that as well. But we need to close this gap. And so that unit of Athelian Rangers is out of ammo. The smaller one has been depleted a bit. It's now their turn to use the last of their ammo, and it is sorely needed right now on this side. So not only do we have a gap here, we've got sorry, those are Moran archers. I thought they had orc javelins. They started to be dead. We've got Moran and archers laying down suppressing fire. That will be reciprocated, I'm sure, by 4 Linden archers here. Maybe. You can't just ignore their archers in this case. Linden certainly can't, because they don't have the armor to be able to withstand the storm of arrows that come their way. Otherwise, we haven't really lost control of the castle. The announcers just triggered that I took something away from the town center. Nimlothian Honor Guard, this is where Gondor's general is. There's Captain Baragon somewhere. There he is. Right there, the little cape and the sword. He's decided to take matters into his own hands and deal with he's decided to deal with the Isengard problem himself. The Nazkai are making that difficult. A lot of them are pretty bloodied up, though, so they'll start to drop. So that's really the only thing stopping us from just steamrolling over the last of Isengard. They do still have a handful of crossbowmen. Now our hero, our unsung hero... Where's he at? Oh, there he is. Yeah, so he came up behind this unit of crossbowmen once the rest of Isengard's forces had started to cross the bridge, and left the crossbows back here by themselves. And he killed 3 or 4 of them before they finally took him down. So he will unfortunately not be able to be named Knight of Nimloth. He will be buried in the Halls of the Dead, alongside all the great heroes and kings of Gondor. Now, it says victory seems certain. This is total BS, though. There's no way. The only thing that could be swinging that for Isengard are the Nazkai, but there's no way. There's no way they could win that. Fountain Guard and Lofty Honor Guard, a handful of Mithlond pikemen, some spearmen, Gondor spearmen in there. There's no way they could overcome, that Isengard could overcome that with just mostly Uruk-hai infantry.
Swinging in our favor. From such tidings does victory emerge.
On this side of things, we've got a lot of rangers in the fight now. And we've ripped to pieces these White Uruk fearmongers. So Melkor's Chosen have charged in to try to break through here. The pathfinding is a little odd.
The enemy general lies dead.
It's Isengard's general dead. I believe we're about to run out of ranger ammo. Yes, indeed we have. So they pull out their swords, and they will be sent into combat. For king and country, for Gondor. Fountain Guard not liking that fight. Only half of Gondor's force remains. Melkor's Chosen finding a way through the pathfinding nonsense that our forces just don't seem to want to deal with. And into these 4 Linden archers, which is not a good sign. They're going to try to charge into our backs, but I notice, and I turn my Nimlothian Honor Guard around to meet them. And Nimlothian Honor Guard will win that fight. Handily. Unless if Melkor's Chosen charge out of there. And pretty much the last of Isengard's line is broken. There's just 2 or 3 Nazkai, 3 of them there, that will fight to the end, because they're locking around. Gondor spearmen are going to avenge their fallen brother, and they're going to charge in and slaughter these Uruk-hai crossbowmen.
Good tidings. The enemy general lies dead. Our enemy has command of the castle.
That's Melkor's Chosen. That's Mordor. Sauron, recognizing he's about to face the shame of defeat, has resorted to trickery to win.
The enemy is no longer in command of the... Our men are in command of the castle.
But these are men of Gondor he's dealing with, and they won't be so easily robbed. Lothian Honor Guard are going to try to block them, but somehow... Huh? They did kill one there. Somehow, he manages to skirt around them. I was absolutely apoplectic at this point. That's okay though. He was gonna try to charge in the rear of our lines here to try to break our morale, but I notice and I bring Fountain Guard out to deal with him. and he thought better of it. And so
Men have slain the enemy general. Without him, his troops will lose their will to fight.
Sauron's lackey slain in the field of battle. Gondor will not deal with such tricks. That, to be fair though, that is a tactic I've used on Greyhaven Siege before. No Nothing Honor Guard have come over here because now Orc Javelins are routing. That's Isengard admitting defeat. There's really just Goblin King's Bodyguard,
This
and
is a clear victory.
there we have it. Linden is saved by the skill of the elves and the might of God. So, let's take a look at the statistics here. So, scouts with the most, I got a pretty good number. All the attackers with roughly the same. Isengard doing the best, and I think that's probably reflective of how these players played. See, look at this. He has a smaller army. Prime 99 is a smaller army than I did. And he's Mordor. So that's why I suggest you not take 2 Nazgul. You could have had something like more than 3,000 men otherwise. So Athelian Rangers, they're the elephant in the room. Almost 500 kills for one, more than 500 kills for the other. This is why I've removed body-piercing ammo from the Ultimate Compilation mod. It is grossly overpowered. Grossly overpowered. Veterans of Osgiliath, 302 kills, despite hardly using any of their ammo. So, don't... maybe I got lucky, but, this is a case where certain types of archers are also useful in melee, so don't be afraid to commit them if they're needed. Marksman to Kaer Andros, one of them with 150 kills, and the other with about 100. A little bit lackluster there, but that's 150 is pretty good. One of the units of archers got 131, and the other with 72. That's a little bit lackluster, but that's okay though. Gondor Spearmen, mixed results there. Fountain Guard did reasonably well. Citadel Guard, some mixed results. Peregrine Marines did reasonably well. Trebuchet did. Didn't get as many as you might think. That being said, it wasn't used until the end of the battle, and a lot of the things it killed were things like Uruk-hai pikemen, which could have caused us some real problems. So, anyhow, not too bad. I thought this was a fun game. Thank you to Scouts of Entertainment, as well as Prime 99, Bobby Rob, and Dog Eater for the battle. And we will get this up on the channel here shortly, probably the next day or so. You won't see any more content from me in the next week, though, after this. I'll be busy this week. I think the next thing we'll do... We'll see, I'll have to talk to Wendigo about things, but there may be a channel update coming. Anyhow, we'll talk to you guys about that later. So thank you for everyone. Hope you'll join us for whatever comes next.